Okay, welcome everyone. This is a Cisco CDP Lab we're going to be doing. I'm really sorry this has come out later than I wanted to, so I do apologize for the delay. That was supposed to be out yesterday. But let's get into today's lab. So we are going to be doing in both okay, and this is about configuration and verification of CDP. So CDP, just an overview of CDP. CDP is a system call. It's about and it's basically about discovering which neighboring devices are connected to a router, and it's kind of in the clues kind of in the name. Cisco Discovery Protocol, about neighbor discovery, which routers are connected to. So it's useful for finding out what's connected and information devices. So we'll get straight to the lab. So configure verify CDP. So Cisco Discovery Protocol is a Cisco proprietary neighbor discovery protocol that's natively supported by nearly every Cisco branded hardware platform. Now, Cisco Discovery Protocol CDP operates at layer 2, the data link layer, of the open systems interconnection model. Therefore, even us that use different layer protocols can share neighbor information. Learn how to use CDP to view. I'm going to try and keep this to under 45 minutes, guys. So I'm going to try my best to keep this lab on 45 minutes. Okay. So this lab, you will learn how to use CDP to connect to view connected neighbor devices. You will also learn how to view the CDP configuration and modify CDP timing. You will learn how to disable and enable CDP globally, as well as on an individual interface. So we're going to learn how to view the CDP and modify CDP timers, and then finally we'll learn how to disable and enable CDP globally, as well as on an individual interface. So if you've looked at if you've been working through the official cert guide by Wendell Odom and Jason Gully, you'll have read about CDP. It's just the chapter on CDP. If you're on volume 2, shows on volume 2, Cisco Discovery Protocol. I think it's mentioned in volume 2, one of the chapters in volume 2. I think it's in chapter 13, which talks about NDP. You got Network Time Protocol, LLDP, which is the open standard counterpart to CDP, Link Layer Discovery Protocol, and also CDP is also mentioned. So specifically, it's mentioned starts at page 283 on volume 2 side, and then it goes all the way to page 287, 283 to 87. Then it starts talking about LLDP. So if you're already familiar with CDP, you'll have heard of Show CDP. You got Show CDP interface listed. Now, you got Show CDP. Okay, that lists global statistics for the number of CDP advertisements sent and received. So in fact, you can see some of the key commands for CDP mentioned here. So show CDP neighbors, show CDP neighbors. Comes to you've got show CDP entry, you've got CDP timer, CDP hold time as well. Those are also commands for CDP configuration. Now, what shows CDP entry as well is also something as well. So this lab is broken down into 3 tasks, actually 4 tasks. So what we need to do we're starting off task to view our CDP neighbors. So we're just going to view CDP neighbors. So on route 1, issue the command to view status information about the router. To which interfaces are these neighbors connected? Update the lab. Issue the command to view status information about Cisco devices that are connected to the router. To which interfaces are these neighbors connected? Update the lab topology with this information. Okay. So we need to view the status information. We need to see which interfaces these neighbors are connected to. Update the topology with this information, and then we move on to question. So let's view status information. Let's go into route 1, enable. We just view show CDP neighbors. We can see route 2 and route 3 there. So we can see route 2 local interface is fast Ethernet 0.0, and then route 3 is fast Ethernet 0.1. You can see 156 hold time for both, and we can see platform details there, port ID. So we can see Cisco CDP information there, and we can see in the interfaces. And then we need to update the lab topology information. So what we're doing here, you should. So this day, if I reveal the answer here, you should issue the following commands on route 1 to view information about Cisco device 1. And we can see the local interface column indicates the connected interface on route 1. The port ID column indicates the connected devices. Okay, the port ID column is indicating the connected interface of the remote devices. So that is the connected interface. That's the interface on route 1. That's the interface on router 2 and router 3. And therefore, port router 1's fast Ethernet 0.1 interface is connected to router 3's 0.0 interface, and also Ethernet 0.0 interface. So that's question 1. So number 2, are router 1 routers? How can you determine this information? I think if you look at the platform column, actually, if you look at the capability column, indicates a code of R. So that if the devices were not routers, a different code would appear in that column. Obviously, the host name kind of gives it away anyway. But if, let's say, those weren't called something else, you would be able to just tell by the code R. S is a switch. So capability, beginning of the show CDP name is command output to determine the meaning of each capability code. Now, on router 2 and router 3, issue the commands to determine each router's neighboring in devices. Update the lab topology with the information that is enable show CDP neighbors. You can see router 1 connected on fast Ethernet to its own fast Ethernet 0.0, and that are fast Ethernet 0.0 on router 1. And router 3 local interface fast Ethernet 0.1. Port ID on router 3 is fast Ethernet 0.1. Now let's issue the. So based on that port, you can determine that router 1 is Ethernet 0.0 interface of router 2. Router 3 is connected to the fast Ethernet 0.1 interface of router 2. In addition, you can determine to the fast Ethernet 0.0 interface of router 3. Router 2 is connected to the fast Ethernet 0.1 interface of router 3. After updating the topology diagram with the correct information to the following. So we can now identify which interface is connected to what. On router 1, issue the command to display detailed CDP information. What additional information does the command show? Okay, so we need to display CDP information. So if we do show CDP neighbors detail, that should give us more information about our neighbors. So indeed it does. You can see device ID is router 2, an IP address 10.1.1.2, platform both on 2.8.11, capabilities router, interface, fast Ethernet 0.0, port ID, outgoing port, fast Ethernet 0.0. So that's the local interface, that's the outgoing, that's the connect port. That's the port that is connected to so that's route 1's interface. That's the port on route 2 that's connected to. Hold time 153 seconds. Okay, we can see VTP information as well here. Management domain, duplex auto, management addresses, advertisement version. You can see similar on route 2. We can see an IP address 10.1.1.6, platform 2.8.11. There's a router as well. Local interface is connected on is fast Ethernet 0.1. As we can see here, outgoing interface fast Ethernet 0.0, as we can see there. Okay, so that's great. Let's now let's reveal the answer there. show CDP neighbors detail, also displays IP addresses of the connected interfaces. If the devices in this scenario were switches, the output of the above commands will also convey information about the native VLAN, as well as VTP information about the VTP about a specific CDP neighbor. Use the star bar in place of a host name. What commands display output that is identical to the output from this command? So we need to issue the commands to display information about a specific CDP neighbor. Use the star card in place of a host name. What command displays output that is identical to the output from this command? So we want to see, if you want to see specific information about a neighbor, there's a specific command that we can use. So one type of command that does exist is show CDP neighbors, and then we type the number. We enter a number, which will list us about each neighbor or found on a specific interface. If you were just to enter an interface there, so if we were to just so if we were to do this one, if we just wanted to tell specific information, and we just use this, let's just try what I was talking about first. Let's say if I just were to do show CDP neighbors, and this is that answers the question, but it's something I just wanted to try out as well. If I were to do that, or rather, actually, plus +0.01. Okay, maybe that command doesn't work as I'm typing. But let's actually look at let's try and answer the exact question, what the question was after. So we need to show information the exact of a particular neighbor. Using the star wildcard in place for host name. If you were to reveal the answer for this one, we can see show CDP entry star, and that shows us. So you should issue the following command in root 1 to display information about CDPs by using the wildcard star. The information from the output of show CDP entry star command is identical to the information displayed by the show CDP neighbors detail command. This is because the star wildcard represents every CDP neighbor, not a specific one. So it is identical because that represents every CDP neighbor, not a specific one. So this kind of question maybe was a bit misleading because it actually show you any specific information. So you got something just to be in mind of there. But I think that's where. But you learn from these things. So even though this kind of question hinted that okay, there's this might help us view specific information, it doesn't actually. But that's fine. So if we were to do that, at least we know how this is used now. So show CDP neighbors, and so show CDP entry, my bad, star. That shows you everything, just like show CDP neighbors detail. But at least we know there's two different type of commands that kind of exist for the same purpose there. Now on router 1, question number 6, issue the commands to display the CDP neighbor entry that's only for router 2. What rules apply to the command when you specify a given device name? So if we just want to see about router 2, we what would we use here? What would we use? And then last question is on router 1, issue the command to display CDP traffic. So just to display information about router 2, what command would you use? And just see where that is mentioned. So if you just want to see information for router 2, what we could possibly, one thing we could specify because we can see okay, route 2, and in fact we can see here interface connected on fast Ethernet 0, 0. What we could do is show CDP interface, fast Ethernet 0/0. Okay. Show CDP fast Ethernet 0/0. Didn't like that for some reason, even though it is a command. It is a command that can be used to view information, but maybe that's not the answer Boson are looking for. Okay, that's fine. So CDP interface isn't the command we need to use here then. From privileged exact mode. So I'm not 100% sure now which one they want me to use. Just looking in the cert guide myself because I'm still learning as well. I'm sure a lot of you guys are as well. So if anyone does know, you can always drop the message in the chat. But I'm just checking a different book now. It's a good book. It's got the CCNA 200-31 Portable Command Guide by Scott Empson. This is, I think, a brilliant book. It's got plenty of different. It's got the commands written for pretty much every CCNA topic plus more, I think, in here. So chapter, I think 15 discusses CDP. Just quickly go back. Chapter 30. Change the length of time to keep CDP packets. CDP enable, no CDP enabled, CDP enable. Enabled CDP on the interface, you do CDP enable, and you want to turn off CDP on the specific interface. No CDP enable. CDP run is to enable CDP globally, and no CDP run is to turn it off globally. So for to see information about a specific neighbor, you can do is show CDP entry, show CDP insert router 1, router 2 in there. So if I do show CDP entry router 2, not sure if it's case sensitive, so entry like that. There we go. So that shows us specific information about router 2. So hopefully that's the answer for that question. Let's have a look. So yeah, that was the answer they were looking for. The one looking for, yeah, so that is the answer they were looking for. So one rule you should follow when you're using the show CDP entry hostname command is that hostnames are case sensitive. They are case sensitive. So therefore, issuing the hostname of router 2 to retrieve information about the device that's configured with the hostname router 2 will not work. Last question. On router 1, issue the command to display CDP traffic. Okay, so if you do show CDP traffic. All right, now that shows us information. Okay, we've got router 2, 10.1.1.2, platform 2, bus on 2811, capabilities router, outgoing port fast Ethernet 0/0. That was for show CDP entries. So show CDP traffic shows us information. Packets output 22, input 44. We can see, so we can see packets. I think that's packets. So packets out, packets in. CDP version 1, advertisement output 0, input 0. CDP version 2, advertisements output 22, input 44. So version 2 advertisement output 22, input 44. I need to hurry this lag along, guys. We've got 27 minutes, so about 7:27 remaining. We've got 4 tasks to get through. The next link layer discovery protocol, I think, will be link layer discovery protocol. If you want to join me for the next live stream, you're more than welcome to. All right, so show CDP traffic. Okay, the output may vary from the output you receive. However, the output displays the total packets sent and the total number of CDP packets received. In addition, this command displays information about packet errors. So finally, the show CDP traffic command displays the CDP version from which advertisements were sent or received. In the output below, all 35 output packets and all 70 input packets were transmitted and received by show CDP by CDP version 2. So only having traffic for CDP version 2 there. Now, task 2. We've got 4 tasks to get through. So I need to spend about 8 minutes on each, maximum really. So verify and modify CDP configuration. So in this task, we find verify CDP configuration on route 1. So route 1, display the global CDP information. What information is displayed by this command? Display the global CDP information. So just to do show CDP, that's global CDP information there. So sending in CDP packets every 60 seconds, sending hold time value of 880 seconds, okay, which is the length of time to keep CDP packets. That's the hold time value. Sending CDPv2 advertisements is enabled. So that shows us global information there. So we can see the output from show speed command indicates that CDP advertisements sent every 60 seconds, that CDP entries are maintained before they are deleted, and the router is sending CDP version 2 advertisements. These are default CDP settings for Cisco devices. One difference between CDP version 1 and version 2 is that CDP version 1 will information between Cisco switches. Okay, so that's one thing important to remember there for your exam notes, I think, is that CDP version, you got CDP version 1, CDP version 2, and so CDP version, so CDP version 2 will not pass native VLAN information between Cisco switches. CDP version 2 will also include more robust reporting and tracking features. So let me close down this. This is something else. So let's have a look at this. Right. That's something to keep on for exam notes. Now, on route 1, display CDP information for the interfaces. Something we need to do. So we can see setting of CDP packets every 60 seconds, sending CDP packets every 60 seconds. So first to show sending CDP version 2 advertisements is enabled. That's the global info. Show CDP interface. So we can see fastly send 0 ZORP, line protocols ORP, encapsulation ARPA, sending CDP packets every 6 seconds, hold times 180 seconds. 1 is ORP, sending CDP packets every 6 seconds, hold time is 180 seconds. So we show specific information per interface. Obviously, when we just did show CDP, that just showed us globally. This is on a global level. This is on an interface level. So let's move on now. Both interfaces configured with the default CDP 180 seconds. Now, router 3 issued the command to change the CDP advertisement interval to 10 seconds. We're going to change the advertisement interval to 10 seconds on router 1. So how would we do that? Does anyone know? How do we change the advertisement interval to 10 seconds? 10 seconds, we need to change the value. So I believe it's just this myself. CDP timer changes how often CDP updates are sent. So let's try that. Let's try CDP timer and change that to 10. Okay, that didn't work. Why didn't it work? Do I need to be in global configuration mode? Let's have a try there. CDP timer 10. That's worked. So maybe it was just the wrong interface mode. Let's check that. Conf T, CDP timer 10. So CDP timer seconds command only modifies how often CDP sends packets. Okay. Setting globally. Therefore, every active interface on route 1 should now send CDP packets at 10 seconds intervals. Okay. Although you configure more frequent CDP interval in this scenario, you can also configure it to be a limited amount of time than the default value. Okay, you can also configure it to be a longer amount of time than the default value. One reason to adjust the timer to be longer than the default value of 6 seconds might be if you're running CDP on a network with limited bandwidth. Okay, so you might need to, you never know, in the exam, you might get a question saying that you need to, you've got a network and it's got limited bandwidth, the administrator wants to change the CDP update value, how could you do this? There. And so it's very important. One other thing that I mentioned that we should note down is that this one difference between CDP version 1 and version 2 is that CDP version 1 will not pass native between Cisco switches. What I will do, guys, is I will put these key points in the description as well of the live stream, so you have to and just read. Number 4, on route 1, issue the commands to change the CDP hold time interval to 20 seconds. So when you change the hold time value, now this not the default. So let's go back into route 1. CDP hold time. Okay. And let's change that to 10 seconds. Now that should change it now globally. Every interface now should be that. And if we want to check, we can do, if I can find my mouse, sorry, it's on my other screen. So let's do CDP, sorry, let's do do CDP, show CDP interface. Okay. So we can see now 10 seconds, 10 seconds. If you just wanted to check for a specific interface, you could do show CDP neighbor, and you could do router 3, for example. Okay, my memory is not working in my favor. How did we do that earlier? There was a way we could check per neighbor. We could check per device. So show CDP entry. That's my bad. I'm getting that mixed up. Show CDP. There's something for you guys to make sure that yeah, you have these commands really have good grip of these commands and knowing the differences and the syntax is something that I struggle with. I'm sure a lot of people struggle with this as well as remembering the commands, which is why I think Anki flashcard is really good. So if you don't have Anki installed, I'd recommend that you have Anki installed. I've got it installed here in my dock. Anki, I think, is a brilliant app to help you. You can create your own flashcards. I know there's Quizlet as well. Anki is what I use, and I think Anki is a really good software. You can install it on your phone, your iPad, your laptop, and that's something that I think can help with that repetition of these commands. Now, which command will you use to view information about a particular neighbor? Which command would you use to show information about your interfaces per interface? Which one? Okay, so show CDP. In that case, you would run show CDP interfaces. If you just want to see for a specific device, then you do show CDP. Show CDP entry, and then specify the host name of that device. Okay, like here router 3. But if it was router 33, you'd do the same thing. Show CDP entry router 33, and like that. I think that is something that is extremely helpful, and so something definitely worth trying to do. I think afterwards, because what doing the lab, watching the lab is one thing, but it's that remembering the commands is something that unless you continue doing these labs, it's not easy to remember these. So I think a good exercise afterwards for everyone learning for the CCNA exam is to go and when you is doing something, having something like this where you've got these commands in your flashcards and the on the other side. I think that was something that can be extremely helpful. Now I need to keep in time. We've not got much time left now, so let's keep moving forward. So the whole time we want to change hold down value to 20 seconds. It's 10. Was it 10 seconds or 20? Sorry, we were supposed to change 20 seconds, not 10 seconds. My bad. Now, if I had to do show CDP interface, we can see hold time values changed. So let's check that now. So yeah, that's changed. Now on router 1, issue the command to verify that CDP time settings have changed on router 1. We need to issue the commands to verify that the CDP time is changed on router 1. So we can see that's now applied to every interface. Okay, so you could also do show CDP as well. Yeah, so you can just do show CDP. Didn't work the command. There we go. Now let's do on router 2 and router, change the CDP advertisement interval to 10 seconds and the hold down interval to 20 seconds. So we're doing the same thing basically on the other routers, which is going to conf t CDP timer 10, CDP hold time 10. Sorry, I keep doing 10. It's 20. Yeah, that's done there. On going to conf t CDP timer 10, CDP not hold time. That is enabled globally on Cisco devices on router 2 issue the CDP. So thing here. So those are global configuration commands. But remember, when it comes to things like what I was trying to do, like when you do CDP information, so CDP, that is a privilege command. And so things like that are a privilege exec command. So just for the exam, just make sure you're doing the right mode. And if you only just move into do, enter do. If it's a privilege exec command in global mode, you can just go put do at the start. And if you're on privilege exec, just do conf t and move into global configuration mode. By default, CDP is enabled globally on Cisco devices. On router 2 issue the command disable CDP. So we want to disable CDP here. Let's just do excuse me. Let's do CDP no CDP run. No CDP run. Okay. So if I remember correctly, CDP run is for global, and if that's to do a global to enable and disable globally. And CDP enable, and yes, it is, just having a look at my book. CDP enable and no CDP enables to do it per interface. So CDP, no CDP run has been done there now. So I wonder what happen if we do show CDP. Do show CDP. Again, this is something I struggled with as well. CDP is not enabled. So you might get asked you could be asked in the exam. I'm not predicting the exact question. I'm just saying you could be asked in the exam. Administrator does this, and you get this. What command can you use to enable CDP? And then you might be given CDP enable and CDP run there as options. So it's knowing the difference between those two commands is very important. So we've disabled it now. Okay. So in some cases, you might not want a device to send CDP information to other devices. For example, although CDP is useful in local networks, scenarios, it can expose information to external networks about the local devices that connect to the external networks. You can disable CDP to prevent the device from sending or receiving CDP information. Now, en route to verify the CDP is disabled. Also, hold on time is to expire, and then issue the show CDP neighbors command on router 1. What neighbors are displayed? Okay. Again, things upon globally disabling CDP prevents the device from sending and receiving packets, regardless of interface. In some cases, you might not want a device to send information to devices. For example, although CDP is useful in local scenarios, it can expose information to external networks about local devices that connect to the external networks. Okay, so you can disable CDP to prevent the device from sending or receiving CDP information. So yeah, there's definitely a security risk there. So that's why some might be more cautious and not and disable it on those that are connected to the external devices. Okay, so we disabled on router 2. So there's been the let those hold time values expire. They should expire now because it's only 20 seconds. let's issue the show CDP neighbors command on route 1 and see what neighbors are displayed. So route 1 shows CDP neighbors. Do show CDP neighbors. Route 2 is not there anymore. Problem. For the administrator of this router, we would think that's a problem. Yeah, so that's not there anymore. Good. Okay, well, that's what we were trying to do there. So we don't see that anymore now. And so on route 3, issue the show CDP neighbors command. Okay, so what neighbors are displayed? I need to do this time because I forgot last time. Do show CDP neighbors. We just see router 1 there. We don't see router 2. All right. Now we've got not long left in this lab. After this, from router 1, attempt to ping router 2. Is the ping successful? Do ping 10.1. On router 2 shouldn't affect that. Yeah, because it doesn't disable connectivity, but it doesn't stop the sending and receiving of those packets, which can be done for security reasons. Now, on route 2, the command enables leave. So let's now go back in there. Let's enable it. So what we're going to do, just do CDP run. Do CDP run. I was correct the first time. Do CDP run. Right, because I can't spell CDP right now. Not having a good look with this is. That's why it's so important to, that familiarity with configuring really helps. So CDP run, okay, worked on. So CDP run, that should be enabled now. Allow the network to converge and then issue the show CDP neighbors command on route 1. Does route 2 appear in the interface? So if we now go back and do show CDP neighbors, there's a timer of 10 seconds for sending updates. So it should be 10 seconds now. And again, silly typos, fat fingered again. Route 2 is back in now. Great. Now let's disable CDP on an interface. That's the last thing we need to do. So in this task, we'll learn how to disable and enable CDP on an interface. Okay, so yeah, that worked. On route 2, issued the command to disable CDP on the fast Ethernet 00 interface. So we need to disable CDP on the fast Ethernet 00 interface. How would we do that? Let's okay, fast Ethernet 00. Yeah, so we don't want that to take part in the CDP anymore. So what we do is, remember, CDP run, no CDP run. That's global. Global. No CDP run, CDP run. Enable and disable globally. Per interface is CDP enable. Enable. Run is global. Enable, local interface. Run is global. And enable, that's used for on a local interface basis. So what we need to do is CDP, CDP. So if we want to disable it on locally, we won't use disable. We'll use CDP enable, but we'd have a no at the start. But we need to get into global. We need to get into interface configuration mode first. So what we'll do is interface fast Ethernet 0/0. No CDP enable. Do not do no CDP disable. That won't work. Yeah, you might guess this could come in the exam as well. That's not going to work. It's no CDP enable. So that's disabled now on a interface basis. That's just disabled on that interface. Now let's go back into the doc there, and right. So we've done that. Yeah, no CDP enables helpful situation in which you want to prevent a router switch from sending sensitive device information over a link that's connected to an external network. Okay, so prevent that router switch sending sensitive device information over a link that's connected to an external network. By disabling CDP at the interface that's connected to the external network, the router can continues sending and receiving CDP information over all the interfaces that are connected to the LAN. So it's more about protection from the external. En route to issue the command to verify that the CDP is enabled on the fast Ethernet 00 interface. So we do show, let's do show CDP interface. So if we do show CDP interface, we can see now that fast Ethernet 00. Sorry, I did this on route 2, didn't I? So let's do show CDP. Do show CDP interface. And we can see 01 is there, but 00 isn't there anymore. Okay. Let's allow the hold time. No, don't see that anymore. Now allow the hold down timers to expire. And then issue show CDP neighbors on router 1. What neighbors are displayed? So if we remember, by the way, that router 1 was connected on the fast Ethernet 00 interface, so I should be looking on yeah, that's the right column for this. So that was how router 2 was connected to router 1 on via that interface. Now router 1 should not see it in his table anymore. So if I do show CDP neighbors now, router 2 isn't there anymore. Okay. Now on router 3, issue the show CDP neighbors command. What neighbors are displayed on router 3? If we issue the show CDP neighbors command, on router 3, do show CDP neighbors. So we can still see router 2 there because that's connected on a different interface. Yeah. There. Okay. Now from router 1, we need to ping 2. So ping 10.1.1.2. So we can still CDP on interface is not going to affect that. So what? Well, what's the consequence of CDP being disabled on this interface? And if it says that router 1 can't ping router 2 anymore, because that can't affect ping, that affects CDP updates and on that interface. Okay, now let's go back, enable it on the interface. So if we do back into interface configuration mode, firstly, Ethernet 0/0 and no CDP enable. Sorry, CDP enable, not no CDP enable. Just CDP enable. Exit. Let's run again. Now allow the network to converge and then issue the show CDP neighbors command. Did router 2 appear in CDP entries? So we need to issue the show CDP neighbors code on router 1. So it should have been 10 seconds by now. Show CDP neighbors. You can see indeed see router 2 is back in there. That's this lab done. So this is actually, it's not really that hard, guys, but it's obviously it's about knowing the commands and that familiarity. You can see even I struggle with it. So it's, I think one good exercise to do after this is to go on Anki, create flashcards, and then just, you know, keep reviewing them on a daily, bi-daily basis. You know, depends how close you are to your exam, and just to be aware. Okay, show CDP neighbors, CDP enable, CDP no CDP enable, CDPv run no CDP run, CDP show CDP. You know how we configure the timer, the hold time, CDP timer, CDP hold time. We also show CDP interfaces, show CDP entry, and show CDP entry, and you insert the specific entry for the remember how we did show CDP entry, and we can see specific information. So you can't just do show CDP entry, but if you do show CDP entry, if you were to do show CDP entry and insert the specific, if you either to do that, that'll give you information about everything, just like show CDP neighbors detail. But if you were just to do show CDP neighbors, so show CDP entry and then do router 2, just see information about router 2 there. So we can see from there, you know, fast Ethernet 00 is connected to router 1, on its own fast Ethernet 0 interface and fast Ethernet 0 on it router 2 side as well. So there we go, guys. That's CDP Lab done. Configure verify CDP. We're going to look at LLDP. Thank you for watching.